in my owner's manual, the most important thing is communication, and communication is community. And that means to share something and to make common. And what we do is we make common with our family. So family is the most important thing, and that's communication. So we kind of see family as a social structure, but what we do with each other is to communicate, to make something in common, and that's with our language. So we speak with each other. We might even use sign language in that sense. So there's lots of different ways of communicating. So I have figured out that there are, and I'm always open to more. So as you said, I encourage people to write their own. And you've got a better owner's manual than me. I'll drop mine and pick up yours. And if I can pick up some good things, I will do that. So I'm really an open kind of guy that I'm going to learn this. So I've come up with 4 different ways that we communicate with 2 or more people. Okay, so if we're talking a little bit more plural answer. So the one is conversation, conversation. And I came up with the opposite, conprosation. So that's newology. Newology means making up new words. So I like making up new words. So there's conversation versus with the poetic thing. And then there's conprosation. And that would be more written out things and stuff like that. And I use an analogy to a sport. So I thought up of a sport of tennis. So when we have a conversation, I hit the ball into your court, and then you answer or respond to me, and then you add something to communicate back to me, and you hit the ball back in my court. And then I respond to what you said, and then I can write up another question or think of another question and bounce it back to you, or a statement, which might demand, you go, are you really true about that? Where's the evidence? And see how it goes back and forth. So there's rules and there are violations. And then another one is a debate. So the difference between that would be fencing. So if you're going to use your foil or your epi and you fight back and forth, it could be very artistic. It could be very with finesse, and you're not really trying to stab each other. It's just a fun touch. Or you don't have to touch, just trying to figure out, this, if I do this way, you go that way. And then there's also MMA. So that's
yeah.
And then you might get into a debate that's just brutal. And so I put it either one. You can do finesse or you can do brutality. Then a dialogue is really different. So I will say to my fiance, I want to have a dialogue. And so she kind of knows what we're going to be doing. That's kind of like a game of chess. So you never take the king off the table. The king falls down or something like that. But this is not it. What you're doing is you're thinking through 4 or 5 steps ahead. And you're thinking about what your opponent is going to do. So instead of an opponent in your dialogue, I have an idea. Honey, I need you to help me with this. Oh, well, did you think about this? No. Well, if anybody said that, this is how you counter it. And I don't need a devil's advocate. I need someone who's on my side, who's going, okay, I see your logic, this and this and this. And then you get to do the same thing with her. So you think through 5 good arguments against you. Well, here's my argument, and here's your argument. But here, if you use this, it's better foundation, or it's more facts, or here's more of a logical thing, and here's a better conclusion than yours. And so you're trying to solve a problem. So a dialogue focuses on that with 2 people really intimately trying to help each other out. Then you have a discussion. And a discussion, I use it more like rugby. It's not so much of the brutality, it's the activity. And if you look at the rugby team, it is every single body shape and size. It's not football players that are big and strong. It's everybody. You need the little guy who's fast. You need the big, huge guy that doesn't move very fast, but it's just a tank. So anybody with any physique can play rugby. And so each one has rules and violations. And then I'll just kind of back off and stop because I'm getting into a lecture, obviously, and your audience is getting tired of this. Then there's a single way of communicating. And I've come up with a lecture, which I tend to do, a rant. So a friend of mine came up with that idea. Yeah, you take a rant. It's a single person just talking. And then you have a sermon. And then you have a story. So if it's once upon a time, people love to tell stories. Other people tell you should do this, you should do that. Bingo, right? There's a sermon. Or here I am ranting and waving on a lecture.